Oh boy, my Dragon Ball brothers and sisters, we are back. We are finally back. Toyotaro has given an interview where he has basically given us a big idea on what the pecking order, who is the head of the table, who is the top dog of the Mortals of Universe 7, and how they rank amongst each other. Of course, very recently we got the Toyotaro image of the 5 main, or should I say, strongest protagonists in Universe 7 right now. And obviously we got Black Frieza on the back cover of that same manga volume. But that manga volume also came with quite a hefty interview from Toyotaro himself, and even though he has spoken out before since Toriyama's passing last year, this one is quite revealing. Now, he doesn't give us specific dates for when the manga comes back, but if you read between the lines, it's coming back. And if I had to hedge my bets, if I had to die on a hill, I'm going to say I think it will be June, July. That's not what this video is about, however. But guys, if you are new to this channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Lend me your energy against this YouTube algorithm that only supports YouTube Shorts for some reason. A lot of Dragon Ball long format video makers are quitting this because of certain new things that are coming into place, but I do this as a hobby, basically because I enjoy talking to you guys. So please do help the channel out against the algorithm. Smash a like on the video, lend me your energy, and please do comment down below. And also, smash a like on the video if you think Dragon Ball Super left off in a good place after chapter 103. I know we had chapter 104, which was the one shot, and now we know that that was actually written by Toriyama himself as well, which was news to me. However, chapter 103 was where I don't really cover news like that because most people have the means to find out about it on their own nowadays. However, as this is a formative channel in terms of power scaling, something was mentioned in that interview that is of note to all of us, and that is of course how Orange Piccolo, Gohan Beast, Ultra Ego Vegeta, Ultra Instinct Goku, legendary Super Saiyan Broly, and Black Frieza rank amongst each other in terms of the pecking order. Chronologically, the Saiyan sparring matches that happened on Beerus' planet in Dragon Ball Super chapter 103 in the manga is the last place that we know of in the timeline of Dragon Ball Super in the story. Obviously, Daima is a whole issue of itself, but concerning the big dogs, concerning those 4 that were on Beerus' planet, obviously we know Trunks and Gosama were there as well, but you know, I don't think they're part of the equation. But ultimately, those 4, as well as Orange Piccolo, as well as Black Frieza, were talked about in an interview. Now, the interview is quite large. However, ultimately, there's this particular extract that I really want to put focus on, especially for those power scalers out there. Okay, so Toyotaro states, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to show the strength of all 5 of us competing against each other. So I decided on this composition. So as you can see in the picture, basically is that image. I think this image will be iconic eventually. I think it is so good and it will become iconic, just like that original Super Saiyan picture with Piccolo in it from the Cell arc, if you know what I mean. But this image will become iconic. It is fantastic. Some people are complaining, I don't know what about, but it looked utterly insane. So he's talking about the 5 characters in the video. He wants to show the strength of all 5 of these characters competing against each other. So what does that tell us? That tells us that these characters are all somewhat on par with each other. Now, I've been saying this multiple times throughout my videos. Like I said, I do formative videos mostly. I don't do that many summative videos anymore. But basically, it's where are these characters at based on the information we've got. This is new information, and he's saying that these characters can compete with each other in terms of strength. Now, I do believe there is some nuance to it. I don't believe they all necessarily have the exact same power level per se, and I will get to that in a moment, but let me just finish off because there's more. This was the hardest work I have ever done, Toyotaro states. Well done, because it looks fantastic, but I may not be able to spend this much time on a cover in the future. Disappointing. Of course, we would rather him be actually creating story rather than just front covers. Also, there is Black Frieza on the backside, whose power difference is worrisome. So guys, this is Toyotaro. He is the A1 source for the manga now, categorically, undeniably. Only Toriyama really has more authority, but since his passing, the most authority now falls to Toyotaro. And he has literally stated that between Black Frieza and the 5 protagonists on the front cover, there is a difference in power. So all the comparisons between Gohan Beast, because Gohan Beast since the manga went on hiatus, has often been propped up as the strongest of the protagonists and the most likely to be able to compete with Black Frieza. He is potentially being included in that. Now there may be some nuance, and I'll go over that again because we like to try and cover all angles on this channel. However, this is Toyotaro basically stating that Frieza's the strongest. There is a power difference between him. We knew there was between Goku and Vegeta anyway, and I think people expected Piccolo, but Broly could have potentially been up there. But maybe the nuance comes in with Broly and Gohan based on how they performed in front of Beerus on Beerus's planet. But as a whole package, I would say, I think this confirms that if these were all to go one-on-one with each other, Frieza would come out on top if Frieza ran the gauntlet. But let's go over some of that nuance. In terms of these five, I think the most shocking thing out of all of this is that Piccolo is considered on par. Now, some people have tried to downplay Orange Piccolo to basically be being more around blue levels, but this is showing Piccolo on the same picture as Ultra Ego Vegeta and Ultra Instinct Goku. So Goku and Vegeta with their Ultra forms, Piccolo is somewhat competitive with them. Now, the nuance is that this doesn't necessarily reflect exact power levels, so they're raw banks of reserves in terms of ki. I think one of the most exciting things about Dragon Ball Super lately is it's really bringing back that martial arts element, and that techniques and abilities can be served as equalizers or even give fighters an advantage over another, especially these Ultra forms that have given Goku and Vegeta hacks abilities that go beyond those just traditional power-ups, say like the original golden-haired Super Saiyans. For example, Goku does get stronger with silver-haired Ultra Instinct, maybe not as much as people initially thought based on the Toei animation of the Tournament's power, but Ultra Instinct comes with mastery self-movement, which includes speed hacks, dodge hacks, fast reaction times, exploitations of openings. Of course, it does have a weakness and a drawback, is that he cannot hold onto it for very long. The toll on his body is extreme. Vegeta has a similar concept really, where he takes too much damage, then he can't hold on to the form any longer. However, he does get stronger the hotter his battle fuel burns, the more he delves into that mindset of destruction, which if he gets hit, that tends to work for him. Based on what we saw of Piccolo's orange form in Superhero, because we didn't get to see it in the manga at the end of the Superhero run against Goku Vegeta, is that it just appears to be a power upgrade at the moment. I suspect it will come with something else, some sort of hacks abilities that he just didn't know about in his fight against Cell Max. But I also suspect, and this is obviously just theory land, is that it will have something to do with some sort of demonic magic. And I think that will be very interesting if they go in that direction. Gohan Beast, as we know, kind of has two versions of his form. There's the regular Gohan Beast that we saw fight against Ultra Instinct Goku on Beerus' planet, where Goku was actually getting the better of him. However, Gohan can tap into this full extent mode, where he allows his power to completely rise and then finds a way to control it, in which, on sheer speed and power alone, he can land on Goku and knock Goku out of that form, which is incredibly impressive. And he's doing this with traditional raw power, based on what we can tell. So this is where the nuance comes in. It's not just about sheer raw power levels anymore. There are different aspects to it. I know if you've been following my channel for a while, we've been talking about this stuff for a while, which is why you must be subscribed if you're not yet. Hit that subscribe button with all notifications on, and do lend me your energy by smashing a like on the video as well, because we are back. We are back with this shit. But I think the main point is that Piccolo can put up a fight against Ultra Ego Vegeta and Ultra Instinct Goku. Would he necessarily win? I still have my doubts about that based on the information we know, but Toriyama did tell us that Orange Piccolo is now on par with Goku and Vegeta in an interview. I don't know why people deny it. Doesn't necessarily mean he'll win in a fight. On par just means he's somewhat relative. But it appears that these are all somewhat on par with each other, but certain techniques and abilities can give them the advantage. This is why I talked about in videos previously, for example, between Goku and Gohan. I believe that Ultra Instinct Goku can win certain amount of those fights, but in terms of sheer raw power, Gohan might have the advantage right now based on his feats in Chapter 103. Then of course, there's a legendary Super Saiyan Broly. You can now use controlled Super Saiyan, and ultimately seems to be power-wise on par with Gohan. Obviously, Beerus stated that Gohan has more control over his power than what Broly has over his, as Broly had only just learned to tap into Super Saiyan at will. But the scary thing about Broly is, even if he's not as strong as Frieza now, this is just regular Super Saiyan for him. As we know from the other Saiyans, there's a whole range of Super Saiyan forms Broly can still tap into. Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, what if he learns God Ki? Could he get an Ultra form? What if Super Saiyan 4 eventually makes its way into the Dragon Ball Super continuity, which is more likely now given what Daima has just shown. But Broly potentially still has all those forms to achieve, or a different kind of form that's unique to himself, or maybe even that original Super Saiyan full power form we saw in the movie is actually him as his strongest, because it allows him to adapt in battle and continuously get stronger, albeit comes with a weakness that, you know, isn't really in control at all. But the way that I would look at it is that Black Frieza probably still has marginally more power than even Gohan Beast and Super Saiyan Broly, but he has complete control over it. I think Black Frieza will also have some techniques and abilities that come with his black form, because that seems to be the direction that Dragon Ball Super is going in. I think that's a good direction, and this is why I've been excited ever since chapter 103. Obviously, it's been on hiatus since then, but it's in an exciting place for the first time in quite a while. I hope they bring the likes of Granola back into the story somehow, Android 17, Beerus, and really expand the cast and really make it, or should I say the 10th arc of Dragon Ball Super, because it will be that, and I believe it could potentially be the best arc so far, where it actually makes a lot of the previous arcs retroactively better by using an expansive cast that's really interesting and engaging, not just Goku and Vegeta time all the time. But guys, really interesting developments. It's kind of what I said in my Dragon Ball Super manga power scaling video. If you've not watched it yet, I know it's long, but it's definitely worth it. It goes through all 9 arcs of Dragon Ball Super, the manga. This manga is going to be back soon. What date exactly, we don't know. Like I said earlier, I'll die on the hill. I think it will be back by July. Smash a like on the video if you're excited about this project. Please do let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments section. Do you not actually think this is a worthwhile source? Personally, I do. It's Toyotaro. Maybe there's a different subjective take you've made from it. Let me know down in the comment section. Let us all know. This is about dialectic. This is about discussion. Exciting times ahead. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until next time, Ad Astra.